Well, hello, friends, and I'd like to tell you about a brand new webinar at Astrology University called Future Fit in the Age of Aquarius with the amazing and talented Laurence Hillman. And Laurence is with us today to tell us a little bit about the webinar. Hey, Laurence, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, Tony. Nice to see you. It's been a while, and we're all getting through this, whatever this is.
Right. Well said. Well said. So can you tell folks a little bit about what you have planned for this webinar and what it's all about?
Sure. Well, this title, this idea of being future fit, is a term that comes up more and more with organizations that I work in. We're doing, consulting and coaching work in big organizations now with this archetypes of work model. And so this question of, well, how do we survive? How do we get into the future? How do we survive what's just been going on in the world, and how do we become more future fit and adjust? And these kind of questions are quite popular in organizational thinking and cultures. And so I thought about this for individuals. Of course, this applies to all of us. How do I become fit for this upcoming new era that astrologers call the Age of Aquarius that we're just entering? And so I'm doing a talk essentially showing us all how we already have the parts within us that are necessary to be future fit. Essentially, the inner renegade, or Uranus in astrology speak, is that part of us that knows how to speak Aquarius and knows how to speak to the future. So when we know how to activate that part of ourselves, how do we do that? Then we are able to exist, co-create, and be in the future in a way that that otherwise, is very scary. And so essentially, I'm asking people to reflect on how they respond to their inner renegade when she or he speaks.
Great. And is this talk kind of in preparation for a certain transit coming up, or is it just kind of a general exploration of this archetype and why it's so important for us to invoke right now?
It is based on the Age of Aquarius, which is in the title. So it really is about the backdrop against which all these changes that are going on are happening. I love to quote Nietzsche when he said, and I paraphrase, "We can take any what if we know why." There's so much what going on right now that is intolerable, that is so difficult for human beings to accept and embrace, probably animals as well, not just human beings, and nature for that matter, as a whole. And so I'm interested in asking the question, how do we understand what's going on at large rather than getting into specific transits? I might mention a couple of transits, the Pluto return, there's all kinds of other things, but I'm looking at the hour hand of the clock. I'm looking at the bigger context, the background, not the minute hand or the second hand.
The really slow, long backdrop cycle. Yeah, beautiful. Well, thanks for that, Laurence. Well, if you are interested in hearing a bit more about Lawrence's work on this subject, tune in at astrologyuniversity.com and you can head over to the events page. If you're watching this video before the event, you'll find the link to register there. And if you're tuning into this video after Laurence has presented this live, you can just search for Future Fit or Laurence Hillman using the search bar on the top of any page of Astrology University, and you can join us for instant download, instant viewing. So I just want to say thanks so much for joining us today, Laurence. Before you go, could you tell folks a little bit about your work with Archetypes at Work?
Yeah, so we have now started, this is the 7th year that we're doing this work with organizations, called Archetypes at Work. It's based on the 10 planets, but we call them archetypes. It's the same thing. It's a different way of looking at the world by just using a different language. And what we do is we go into organizations and we do leadership development, and we do team building, we do teamwork, we work with boards, we work with different groups of people using this archetypal eye that we develop. We also have a guild of practitioners, which is a community of practice, which is a global group of people who have trained in our method. We have a training model and a training system and a training school where we teach you over 106 hours how to use this model in whatever work you're already doing. So if you're in the human development world, if you're working with people in any way, shape, or form, as a therapist, as a coach, as a astrologer, as a counselor of any kind, you can train with us. We don't train you to become the professional. We train professionals how to use our language as a tool for them. And it's 106 hours of training. We're running 3 full programs this year. And when you complete that training, you are eligible to become a member of this guild, where we call on each other to do projects together, to help us with the larger project that we can't do alone, help us with contracting, with getting work, with these kinds of things. And so the Guild of Practitioners, if you go to archetypesatwork.com/guild, you can find everything about the guild and the course to get to the guild membership. So that's what we're doing, and it's exploding. We need more people. We don't have enough people to do the work, and so we're training people as fast as we can to learn how to do this.
That's so great. And if you want to just dip into this a little bit, there's a book called of the same name, Archetypes at Work, that you can find online. Yeah, and it's a gorgeous book. So yeah,
Archetypes at Work is available. If you go to archetypesatwork.com, you'll find everything there. We also have a free assessment you can take to see how the archetypes line up for you or stack up for you, sort of like what's your most comfortable, most naturally to step into at this time, and which one is at the bottom of that list, and then what that might mean for you. Just a very simple free assessment you can do there. We also have a full assessment that's professional that the people who have trained with us use in their practice. And will be interesting if you're an astrologer to look at to compare your astrological chart with the archetypal assessment and see how that lands for you. That might be an interesting additional insight. And again, it's free at archetypesatwork.com, right there on the homepage.
Do you have a sense of how often it matches up well?
Very well.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the same thing, just from different perspectives. So yes, it matches up a lot. But what you can see, it almost kind of reads your transits, because it tells you about where you are right now. And you know, we understand that assessments are not for life, that they change according to your circumstances. Astrology, of course, shows that. And so we use a model that is flexible. We call it archetypal preferences report. What preferences do you have right now for these archetypes, these parts of you? And for some people, it's you know, changes very rapidly. Something changes in your life, big change at work, or with a partner, or with health, or with something like that. And different archetypes have to be at the forefront. You step into a different part of yourself. So suddenly you have to fight for something and you step into your warrior, or you have to take care of someone and you have to step into your inner nurturer. So that's the flexibility of the human psyche that we just map out in this way. That's very easy for people to understand and very useful. It's also very multicultural. So this model that we have works, as astrology does, works globally. It doesn't matter where you are, because we're working on an archetypal level that's at the bottom of everything. And then through that translates up through culture and personal history and what, you know, what's called nurture, in addition to the nature that is your chart, and so, or your archetypal pattern when you're born. So that is a model that reflects this way that we actually experience ourselves, which is being of a changing nature.
Beautiful. That's just beautiful work that you're doing. Thanks so much for all of your efforts with that. And I'm glad to hear that it's spreading so much and doing so well. So, well, thanks so much for joining us today, Laurence. And if you're interested in the webinar, again, head over to astrologyuniversity.com/events. And if you have any trouble finding it, just email our help team at help@astrologyuniversity.com, and we'd be happy to help you out. Well, thanks again, Laurence, and we'll see you soon. And until next time, take good care, folks.